Hi guys, welcome back to episode 2 of our podcast. I'm Hasib Ahmed. I'm a first year student at the University of Bradford. I am studying a foundation in social sciences. We are joined today by...
My name is Junaid. I study biomed science.
Hi, my name is Mudasser. I'm one of the police officers working in West Yorkshire Police.
I'm Fatima and I study psychology.
Hi, my name's Saheba and I do psychology as well.
Right, first question for Mudasser. Why did you join the police force?
And I think for me it was, as I said, it's different to what normal probably routes are. So I always want to be a police officer. That was one of my dreams as a kid. So I applied when I was 18 for Greater Manchester Police, but I failed. After that, I went on to my degree. I did my degree in international business marketing. Once I passed that, I still wanted to join the police. By that time, they were recruiting as a bar on all public sector organisations. So I went on to do my PGC, which is a teaching qualification degree. You have to have that for you to teach. I taught for 7 years in this country, in high school and college. Then I taught 2 years abroad in the Middle East, and then I came back and joined the police. Just to answer your question, why I want to join the police, I honestly think we need more representation from our communities in the police service. And one thing that really hit me when I was growing up, I think this probably highlights why, the why part of your question is, I live in a very Asian area, and the local police was 100% white. So 100% Asian area, 100% white police force. And I should see an Asian bloke being searched by a white officer all the time. And my knee-jerk reaction, or my shallow-mindedness, you can say, just because people generally don't like the police, so you always think the negative thing first. So I thought racism straight away. But if you look at it from a critical point of view, if there's 100% white officers in that police and 100% Asian in that community, the probability is 100% is going to be Asian officer, white officer searching an Asian bloke. So that was my personal motivation of joining the police. But if you look from a professional point of view, the police is a massive organisation. There's so many opportunities within the organisation, in terms of promotion or in terms of development. There's so much more available to people that we don't see, that the general public won't see. But once you get in the organisation, you'll find out what they have to offer. So I think for a bit of both, personal and professional reason why I joined the police.
Right, so guys, this is a question for you guys. What are your opinions on the police? So we start with Saheba.
That's such a hard question because you don't really form an opinion, you just see them as someone that does their job as everybody should. But if we're talking about the police that we have today that we see around, I agree with what you said. I do feel like it's very a white majority, and it's kind of a shame because obviously you want everyone from different backgrounds. That's just how everything should be, really. So it's nice that you are someone that wanted to make a change in that sense. I think sometimes it can be intimidating as well. I know that it's safe. I've never been involved with the police with anything. It is a bit, it's not intimidating, but it's just, I think it just feels more comfortable if it was maybe with somebody more of an Asian background, because we are too. It makes you feel more comfortable.
And I think that's the whole point now. So just to tell you obviously a bit about the role that I'm doing now. So I used to be a frontline officer, worked in response or nearly 999 calls or 101 calls. But past year I'm now part of the positive action team. So basically our main job is to increase our representation, meaning we want to reflect the communities that we serve. So if, let's say, from Manningham, let's just take Manningham. We all know Manningham, yeah?
Yeah.
We all know Manningham, right?
Yeah.
So in Manningham, the population is 80% ethnic minority.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest with you, majority of it is Pakistani ethnic minority as well.
Yeah.
Right? How many Asian or ethnic minority officers do you see in Manningham? When was the last time we saw one?
I don't think we've
Never
ever
have.
seen one.
And the reason why that is exactly as you said, is that we are not joining these I'm not just saying the police, I'm talking all type of different organisations. And what you said was intimidating, you're right. It's a natural thing, when you see, and I get this all the time, when I go out with a fellow white officer, although there's nothing wrong with a white officer, he'll be perfect, he'll be nice, he'll be better, well behaved than me, really, but when we meet the Asian community, they'll come to me straight away.
Yeah.
Because, as you said, they think, oh, this guy probably understands my language, my culture,
Yeah.
my religion, so he probably understands my problem a bit more. And you're right, people do that. And this is why, you know, the positive action team exists, is to make people like you know, people here, to think about why I join the police, you know, as a career, and
Yeah.
also to do a service to our own communities, if that makes sense. So I just think we also need to take that responsibility as people from diverse backgrounds, as people from the ethnic minority background or people from Pakistani background, is that we also need to join, because if I go to your house and let's just say, God forbid, I'm coming there to arrest you, and your husband or your brother or you or your father or your mum, whatever, they say that we need a female officer, and we need a Muslim female officer. There's no one there. So what do
Yeah.
we do? Do you get what I mean? But when it's facing the same people, but why don't you ask your daughter to join us? Oh no, not the police, bro.
Yeah,
I
100%.
see what you mean.
So this is what we need to also. I used an analogy earlier on today, and it's so true. People might think negative of the police, so let's put fear, let's put arrogance, right? Let's put racism, let's put misogyny, let's put all of these problems that people think the police have, right? And let's use an analogy of a squash drink, right? So the squash orange drink, the solution is all our problems. So whatever you think the problems are, then let's put it there. And let's put water as us, people from diverse backgrounds. The more water we put in that solution, the more diluted it's going to get. And then slowly, once it overflows, then that solution or that squash is going to finish. It's going to
Yeah.
be clear water then.
So true. That's
You
a
get what I
good way of
mean?
thinking
So
it.
so you always need to, and I don't want to use this term, but stop playing the victim card.
Yeah.
We need to join these organisations. Because at the end of the day, if you look at Bradford University students, for example, right, they want a job locally. Yes, you guys are students.
Yeah,
here.
100%.
You want a job locally. You don't want to go to London. You don't want to go to Glasgow. You don't want to go to Manchester. You want to work here in and around the Bradford area. Now you've got an opportunity to work in the Bradford areas
Yeah.
where you can see your family. Because obviously with our culture, we want to be interconnected with our families. So think outside of the box. Don't just follow sheep, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I went
Fatima,
off a lot
anything else?
I think there is a very negative stigma attached to the police because, like you're saying, there's a lot of problems that surround it, and that is the only assumption that people have. So, I do rate people like yourself who want to make a change.
Yeah. I mean, I think. Thank you for that. But I think let's look at the wider problem now. Why do we have these problems associated with power? So your county council, your youth offending teams, your social services, you know, and these are all Asian problems. If you think about ethnic minority problems,
Yeah.
you mentioned social services. Oh no, don't call social services, because again we've got that stigma against these organisations. The only way we can break that stigma is to make the workforce diverse. That's what we're trying to do, making sure we reflect. So when the community see us, they see themselves. So if Manningham is 80% Asian, then Manningham Police Station needs to be at least 40% ethnic minority as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
But we can't pick people out. We need people like you to join us, if that makes
Mhm.
sense.
Yeah.
Junaid, anything else?
Well, to be honest, end of the day, the police are just there to do their job. Because when they're not in that uniform, they're just people like me and you. And there are quite a lot of misconceptions with the police. You know, some people hate them, obviously. But, end of the day, whenever you're in danger or you need help, who you gonna call? You're gonna call them, innit? So that's end of the day. They're just trying to do their job. They're just trying to help. They're just trying to make the community safer. They're just there to do their job.
And I think you hit the nail on the head there. I think what people don't realise, our main job is law enforcement. So if someone's breaking COVID rules and we fine them £100, clearly no one likes us.
100%.
Do you get me? Because we are issuing a fine. Or if we've caught someone's drugs that's worth hundreds of thousands of pounds, and that investment, which it is, has gone now, then clearly no one like us. But our problem is we're stuck between a rock and a hard place. We do it and we get criticised. We don't do it and we still get criticised. You know, but as I said, we are a much different police to what you see in Europe. Our kind of policing is that we police by consent. Basically, is we have to earn your respect to police you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But sometimes, that's the bottom line. But sometimes where we can't really ask for your permission. Can I arrest you, please? I can't do that. If you need you arresting and you're fighting with me, then I need to apply force. So that, obviously we're stuck in a really difficult position in that sense. We do something and we get damned, and we don't something and we still get damned. So I get your point. But at the end of the day, it's again what kind of police give you now. Do you get what I mean? And if there's a police force that's offering you a job and assisting you through your application stages, then why not take it? End of the day, you need a job, and it's a career for life. Yeah.
In my opinion, I think that with the police, you show respect to them, you're gonna get respect back. You will get that odd case where you will get a stubborn police officer, or let's say racist police officer. That no matter what, you will get that.
Yeah.
There will be that odd case where you will have that. But at the end of the day, if you show respect and if you do what they tell you to do, there's not going to be a problem. At the end of the day, they do wear body cameras, so whatever they do, it's recorded. Whatever they say is recorded. So, with respect, you have to show it to get it.
Exactly. I mean, you've hit the nail on the head there. I think the police's main issue is that our bad things gets highlighted straight away.
100%.
Yeah.
And what people think might happen in America, they always say, "Oh, this happened in the UK as well," but it doesn't. Two different police forces, right? But at the end of the day, what you said about arrogant police officers or racist police officers, am I sitting here and saying this? No, I'm not. No, I'm not. That'd be a lie. Because at the end of the day, those police officers are from the same communities that you see outside. So has racism finished in the community? No, it hasn't. Has hate finished in the community? No, it hasn't. Has misogyny or any other form of hate, has that finished in the community? No, it hasn't. So therefore, we will only employ from the communities. However, having said that, I've been in the police now for 9 years. I did 4 years in London, 4 years in West Yorkshire now. I can honestly, with hand on heart, that there's a massive culture shift now. There's a lot more understanding of different cultures. There's a lot more understanding of why we need to clamp down on bad behaviour, on racism, on hate kind of speeches, on misogyny and what have you, just because we've understood, it might be a bit late, but we've truly understood, in order to have an inclusive workforce, we need to get rid of these bad apples. And that's what I can say that 100%. For the past 3 years, anyway, since I've joined West Yorkshire, I've realised a massive culture change in the police as well. I mean, for example, how many people here think that we've got a masjid or a prayer area in every single police station? No one probably knew that. We've got wudu areas in the police station, but the public don't know that. And I'm just giving you one example of, just because I'm from Muslim faith, so I'll mention as Muslim kind of things. But for women, we've got headscarves if they want to wear it as uniform. Go on.
So let's say you're on shift, so you're out patrolling, you're in the car, and prayer time comes. Let's say Maghrib time, and you need to pray. So, are you allowed to just stop, go pray in go to a mosque,
right,
pray and come back?
So it might not be in a mosque, right? Because sometimes you're operational on duty then, right? However, I have gone to mosques in uniform when I was in London, or even here, went to mosque in full uniform. But normally, the normal practice is that, for example, Ramadan's coming up, right? So last year or year before, when I was operational, when I was on frontline policing, and I was on a scene guard. So basically, if a murder happens or someone's been assaulted or what have you, there's a scene there. So some officer needs to guard that scene, right? So when it's time for Maghrib, I got a phone call from one of my friends, got a friend, English friend, saying, "Do you want 5 minutes or half an hour so you can go and eat and pray, and I'll stand there for you?" Do you get what I mean?
So then,
So if it's not, so if I'm free, if I'm not, so basically I can't leave that crime scene. I can't just say, right, it's time for namaz, I've got to go now. Obviously I can't do that, right? But I can make arrangements. So sometimes I might not go to mosque, sometimes I have to pray, at the police station or even outside. I've done both.
Yeah.
But there's no one stops you. That's the key message. And one thing I'm really proud of is that ever since I've joined police, it's been 9 years now, and that's not because of me. It's because of the people that I worked with. I have not missed a single prayer in uniform. And that's a massive thing. People don't realise this, how big this is. But it's a massive thing. And that's not because of me. That's because I've rang my colleagues, or they rang me and said, "Do you want 5 minutes? Or do you want 10 minutes?" And they'll give you a time.
So it's basically they're caring basically.
As I said to you earlier from the previous question or from a previous answer, the culture is evolving now.
100%.
Because there's more offers. Again, going back to the same thing, the more there is, the more diluted that syrup gets, the more understanding people become.
Yeah.
And this is what we need. And this is what we need, people like you know, especially females, because with ethnic minority men, we're okay. We're not okay, but we're better than females.
Yeah.
With females, we're like 0.5% of our total workforce.
Yeah.
So this is why we need more representation, just because we need to show the communities that we've got people there who understand you. If that makes sense.
I think Sahiba had a question.
Yeah, it went back to one of your previous points actually, but I was going to ask you, do you ever feel like, how we were talking about, how the police have a very bad reputation and everybody knows them just for that. Do you ever feel like you don't get enough credit for your actual job, like for you personally and just the police in general?
I mean, I think that's the nature of our job, isn't it? People always think that the worst in us. I mean, for example, in Bradford, I get called all sorts by people from my own community. Racist remarks or just hateful remarks. But at the end of the day, you got to look at the bigger picture. And my personal bigger picture is I want to make sure that my kids grow up in a better society than what we did as growing up. And you guys are still better off than what we had. I'm 36 now. And our kind of upbringing, our kind of childhood was not as easy as probably you guys have it now. We weren't allowed to wear Asian clothes because they looked odd. If that makes sense. We weren't allowed to, or we weren't. I said not allowed to, but we weren't. It wasn't good to wear headscarves or hats or what have you. But now it's normal. People wear salwar kameez all the time now. That's normal now. So I think things have evolved. But I want to make sure that the next generation, your generation, the generation after that, is a lot better and comfortable in what they are and who they are. End of the day, we belong here, so we need to show that we belong here as well. If that makes sense.
Yeah. So relating to this point that we just done, so when you were joining the police force, how did your friends, family, and the community react to the fact that you're going to join the police force? Because as you said, that Asian communities, it's a tight knit community. Yeah. Everyone knows everyone. So how did everyone react? Your friends, family, and the community.
My parents wise, they were perfect. My dad was always very supportive of me joining the police. He's the one who encouraged me to join the police. So parents and family-wise, there was no issue. I think with the wider community, then people thinking, why join the police?
What about your friends?
Friends were like, I can't repeat what they said there, but it was like, what are you doing that for? They're racist, and in the past, in the 90s when we were growing up, it was about racism. I mean, you guys probably too young to remember Stephen Lawrence.
The kid that got stabbed up.
But Google it, you'll find out.
Yeah.
But people still think, at that time people used to refer to Stephen Lawrence, but Stephen Lawrence weren't murdered by the police. He was murdered by
a bunch of white boys.
White racist people, and the police just boshed up his investigation. So people still refer to that. However, again, going back to my earlier point, if we don't join them, we can't change them. It's as simple as that. Do you get what I mean? And we need to join these organisations, whether it be the police service, whether it be other organisations. My younger brother is a barrister. When he joined the bars in Manchester, he said there was only 2 Asian people there. Now there's 26.
To make a change, you got to be the change.
Exactly.
To make a change, you got to be the change.
You can't expect other people to jump.
100%.
You got to jump yourself.
As soon as you see the opportunity to actually make a change, you just got to go for it.
It's a good career for you as well.
So, do you guys have any questions for Mudasser?
What is the recruitment process like? Let's say if I wanted to join the police.
So there's 2 routes to join the police at the moment. So one is a degree entry program, and one is a pre-degree entry apprenticeship. So you have the police constable degree apprenticeship program, which is basically a degree. You do a degree at Leeds Trinity University, It's a hybrid, should I say. So Leeds Trinity University, Cargate, which is IHQ. So you do your degree at Leeds Trinity University. You learn how to be a copper, you learn how to be a police officer at Cargate, where you learn how to arrest someone, how to stop and search someone, how to write statements and so on and so forth. And then the third element is that you also have on-the-job training. So you have a dedicated tutor with you at all times who tutors you throughout the process, right? With that particular program is that you get paid. So you get paid to a degree, £22,000 nearly, and we pay for your tuition fees. And then thirdly is you are guaranteed a job at the end of it.
So is that at Leeds where you're going to get paid for the
Exactly.
to do the degree?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And the second point is degree holder program. So once you've got a degree, you apply, but you can apply for two routes now. You can either apply for a detective. So when I joined, you can only be a detective after 2 or 3 years. Now you can be a detective straight away.
So has it changed a lot, this recruitment process?
So when I went to uni, so when I joined, although I've had a degree was not a requirement. All it was, I think, maths, English, GCSE. Now, for the degree program, you just need a degree. Even though you don't have your maths and English, you just need a degree, a level 6, or predicted grades. But you have to be in year 3. But for the apprenticeship program, you need a maths and English, GCSE, pass. You need any kind of A-level, BTEC, or NVQ level 3 qualification, and then you go through the recruitment process.
So with the A-levels, how many A-levels do you need? Do you need them all 3, or just one?
You just need 80 UCAS points.
80 UCAS.
That's it.
Fair enough. Okay.
But you need your maths and English GCSE if you go in a pre-degree program. But if like you guys are studying here, once you guys reach year 3, the December of year 3, you can apply with your predicted grades. And if you ask your tutors, they'll send they'll send you via official email your predicted grades. And the way to apply is that you'll see what we can do. I'm not sure if you can, but you can send us an email on recruitment.support@westyorkshire.police.uk, or you can get in touch with Irfan, and then he'll make sure that I get the emails. In terms of the recruitment process, it's a long process. It takes about 6 months to join, complete the full process. So you get the application, you do the National Assessment Centre, you do the interview, then you do your security checks and your physical, which is basically a bleep test, nothing major, and then you pass the recruitment process.
So with the security, is it a DBS check practically?
Higher
Than a DBS.
Higher than DBS checks.
So how deep would they actually go?
So they look at you, they look at your siblings, your mum and dad, your step siblings, your stepmom and dad, and they also look at your associates, if you have any associates, the people that live in the same house with you, and so on and so forth.
I just got a quick question. Does your immigration status matter? Do you have to be a UK citizen?
Yes, so you have to be a UK citizen in order for you to apply, because you need to have the right visa qualification in order for you to apply. So that's a definite. If there's any international students, and unfortunately, until they don't get the proper visa requirement and have stayed in this country for 3 years, you can't apply. However, having said that, if you're an EU resident, you've got EU residency permit, then you can still join, because that's classed as I think a European Economic Area is called. If you're part of that or you have that visa, then you can still apply.
It sounds quite long. Did you ever find yourself getting impatient? Like, what kept you going with everything?
I think one thing that you need to make sure is you don't leave a job once you apply.
Yeah.
Carry on doing your job. That's what I did. I kept on doing my teaching job throughout the
same
post.
time,
Yeah.
yeah.
So if I got it, fair enough. If I don't get it, I've got a job.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
don't think, oh, I'm going to get this job, so I'm not going to take this job now. Do you get what I
Yeah.
mean? So carry on still doing jobs. But just on that note, I'll just give you a brief of how we help throughout the 6 months. So what we have is we'll give you a mentor. So one of people on my team, one of my colleagues, will be in constant touch with you throughout that period. So sending an email, ringing you, asking if everything's okay. But we also help with the application. So we have the second stage after you've passed the application, which is not that hard anymore. It's a lot easier. It's a lot easier. But you have the second stage is National Assessment Centre, which is you do a few assessments online though. It's all done online. But again, we help you. We have online workshops where we tell you exactly how to pass it in a sense. And then the final stage is the interview. But again, we help you with that interview. Again, having workshops. So it's a very inclusive and intimate kind of recruitment process. We just leave you to it. We actually assist your journey throughout the process. Excuse me.
So with the police, as you said, police are finding it really hard to to recruit people from BAME. So what is your advice to people like of these ethnic minorities to join the police? What would you say like are the advantages and the disadvantages?
Excuse me, I've got something stuck in my throat now. But I think advantages, if you look from a community point of view, we are helping our own communities. That's one of the main benefits, I think, anyway. Second benefit for us as a person or as a professional is there's a lot of scope. People don't realise there's 73 different departments in the police, in the West Yorkshire Police. We employ over nearly 11,000 people. So it's a massive organisation. There's so many different opportunities and the skills that you gain from here. So let's just say you're a detective, you do that for 6-7 years, and now you think, no, this I don't like shift work, or I don't like doing this anymore. I want to do something easy or something 9 to 5. Then you'll get a job within the organisation. But if let's say you want to leave the organisation, you've got tangible skills. So like I know someone who left being a detective for the police and now he's working for the bank as a fraud detective. So you get him, so it's the tangible skills. So
The skills always stay with you.
exactly, they're transferable skills. So you can't just say, "Oh, that's it. I can't use this anymore." You can take it wherever you want, and there's a lot of training within the police service. There's a lot of opportunities in the police service, promotion-wise or development-wise. I mean, like just to name a few departments, you have like firearms, you'll have horseback, you'll have youth offending teams, you'll have safeguarding, you'll have what's this called? You have continuous progression and what have you. So there's a lot of departments, just to name a few. But then there are specialist departments such as your HMET. HMET is basically if you see a murder or any serious crime, these are the specialist detectives that come out and investigate that murder or that serious assault. You'll have your other departments like surveillance, like counter-terrorism. These are highly skilled kind of departments. So there's a lot for us as well, for personally as a person, but also for our community as well. So again, we can only make a difference when we are within that organisation. We can't make it from outside the organisation.
So, as you said, you've been a police officer for how many years?
About 9 years.
For about 9 years. So in these 9 years' times, have you ever come across anything that has made you say, no, like, I do not want to do this job, or like some of the negative experiences that you've had as a police officer, be it whether it be like racism, stereotypes, or just people being like abusive to you verbally or physically?
I think for me, in terms of, let's look at it both internal and external. So within the organisation and outside the organisation. I mean, hand on heart, I've never experienced personally racist abuse. Me person. However, have I heard of other people? Yeah. Right? But at the end of the day, as I said to you, now things are drastically improving. We've got a lot of improvements within ourselves, but also a lot of safeguarding, a lot of mechanisms where we can seek for support. For example, in West Yorkshire Police, we've probably got one of the most vibrant Muslim associations. So a bit like your student union kind of groups. Well, and that association is only there for people of a Muslim faith, and they help with our Muslim problems. So if we are fasting, then they'll say, well, if they can't change shifts, let them change shifts. So we'll change shifts. We'll have a women association. So for example, if someone's got maternity problems and she's and no one's helping her, she can approach the women association of policing and they'll help her. So in turn, there's a lot of mechanism. Outside, you get all sorts. As I said to you, I'll probably be called all sorts outside in the communities, but you don't care. I don't care anyway. I'll be very honest with you. For two reasons. One, I'm getting paid. I'm getting paid. That's it. You know, that's one of the main advantages. And secondly, at the end of the day, these people don't know. They don't know why we are doing this. You get what I mean? So it doesn't bother me. It just goes out one ear out the other. That's it, really.
I don't know. I just had this question just came up in my head.
Go on.
Like, are police officers like allowed to stop each other?
Stop
Have you
each
ever, as a police officer, ever pulled over a police officer?
Yeah, so we are police officers for everyone, right? So we can't just say, "Oh, we saw you having, I don't know, smoking drugs," right? So I'm gonna arrest him. But if I see a copper inside a police station smoking a spliff, then I'm not gonna say, "Oh no, you carry on, mate." I'm gonna stop it. So I think that's our thing. We need to be honest. It's about honesty and integrity, right? If we want to change the organisation from within, we need to challenge other people's behaviours.
So who polices the police?
Yeah.
Well, there's two ways. One is that we police ourselves,
Yeah.
as in through our peers, and the other one is we have a watchdog, the Independent Police Commission, who if people have got so let's say if you got a complaint against the police and you think, oh, West Yorkshire won't take it seriously, you can go to this independent body and they will investigate us.
So this watchdog, let's say, is it technically like in America internal affairs?
So we have two things. We have internal affairs, which is
Right.
within the police.
Oh, okay.
We call that PSD, professional standards. Then we have the watchdog, which is totally independent from every police force. It has its own head, so it doesn't answer to us. It doesn't answer to anyone. So it's an independent body altogether that investigate the police.
Okay. So let's say technically so I'm a police officer and you've caught me smoking a spliff. What would you do in that situation?
What would I do if I saw you?
If you saw
What if I
me-
saw him?
Is it the same
The
as
same?
someone in public,
The same.
or is it different?
No, exactly the same.
Exactly the same.
If we need to, if we see any wrongdoing, whether it be a police officer or a member of the public, if we can arrest you, then we need to arrest him as well.
That's only fair. Yeah.
Do you get what I mean? We can't be two-minded. We can't just say, "Oh no, he's my friend." Leave
My
him.
colleague, yeah.
You know, or you know. So it's the same with like if I see one of my family members, if I see them, beating someone up, what do I say? I'll carry on, man. I'll just turn the other way. I can't do that.
You can't.
And I've seen people, who have got.
It's unjust.
It's unjust, exactly.
Yeah.
People who have got thrown out of the job for doing something similar to that. But again, as I said, there are bad apples in the police as well. I'm not disputing that. But I can guarantee you there are procedures in place for these people not to be in the police, if that makes sense.
So talking about the bad apples, if you had one thing to change about the police force, what would it be?
What I'm doing now, change demographic. Change how the police looks. Make sure the police actually looks like the communities of Manningham, the communities of Great Horton, the communities of Keighley.
So practically you're saying that you want more
Diversity,
ethnic minorities.
yes.
So more ethnic minorities, more diversity.
Yes.
So that it just reflects practically society.
But if you look at it from a practical point of view as well, right? For example, I'll give you, when I joined this team, they used to have pictures on posters. And we used to post them everywhere. I'm thinking, why have you not posted it in the masjid? Well, there's a picture there. There's a photo there, and as we know, there's no pictures inside any mosque.
Yeah.
Right? So we changed it straight away. But that's again because I knew what I was talking about. But for anyone else who's not from Muslim faith, they don't care. It's a
They
picture,
wouldn't
isn't it?
know,
It's
yeah.
a picture, isn't it? Why can't you put it up?
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean? So that's another thing, is that when we have more diversity, there's more thought process. Do you get what I mean? So that's a small thing. But if you look at everyone else, that's a small thing. But for a Muslim person, having a picture inside a mosque is huge.
So talking about that, let's say the non-Muslim police force, like the police officers, would they get, like, let's say, educated on like Muslims and different,
Yes.
let's say not even Muslim, different
Any,
faiths?
yeah, 100%,
faiths
different
and how they
communities, yeah,
Mhm.
100%. There's a lot of training, but let me throw a bit of a caveat to it, right? So, if there's a white officer going to an every Asian household, and he knows or she knows exactly how to deal with it, because I've taught them. Let's just say I've taught them, right? And they go into his house and they think, well, he said that, shall I do this or shall I do that? They'll always think two-minded, won't they? And see what's best, because they'll have to think twice.
Yeah.
Whereas if I go as an Asian officer, instant answer, because I live that culture, I speak that language, I understand that religion or whatever. Do you get what I mean? So again, yes, we teach them, and yes, they get training, and yes, we have all these, training in place. However, it's still better to have people that are from those communities.
So talking about diversity, how bad is the diversity now? Is there any rough statistics that you have?
So I'll give you Bradford example. Obviously, we're talking about Bradford here.
Yeah.
So Bradford has about 48%, about 45 to 48% ethnic minorities, right?
Mm-hmm.
In a percentage, how much do you think is ethnic minority? Police officers in Bradford.
We'll ask these guys. So
How much do you think?
what's the
So,
question?
so we have 48% of Bradford's population
Yeah.
who are from an ethnic minority, right? How many, or what percentage of that is in the police?
Say around. Have to be quite low.
Go on,
Just think
give me a number.
any number.
2%. What do you guys
Fatima,
think?
Sahiba?
5%. Yeah, I'll probably join in with that.
6%.
6%.
Wow.
So
So the demographic
that
or the
is
disparity is huge,
very massive.
right? And again, going back to my, I've repeated this a few times now. That's why we are here. That's why we go into Bradford College, Bradford University's new college, Keighley College, all that, just because we want to increase that representation. Because we can't. Because I'll give you another stat. Recently we opened up for everyone, all applications, right? How many we got 700 applications. How many of those 700 do you think from an ethnic minority background?
I'd say around at least 20, 30.
Okay,
30.
girls?
About 100.
100,
Like 50 maybe?
80,
80. Wow.
right?
So
And
why do you think this is? Why do you think there are so many ethnic minority groups that are like
Not joining.
They're not asked, they're not
Exactly,
joining at
100.
all?
A valid question.
Why is that?
Brilliant question. I think there's a lot of question. There's a lot of answer to that question. One, stigma, past experiences, and another thing, which is again mostly our fault, is that we have not communicated what we have to offer. Because if we tell people what we have to offer, they will understand it. Like having these kind of sessions, coming into university and having a proper workshop where we can explain to people what we have to offer. So it's a bit of everything really, but mostly it's past experiences, stigma, and just their general dislike for the police. And also, last but not least, they don't think police has been a professional organization or a career. They think lawyer, doctor, pharmacist, nurse,
Yeah.
all those
Yeah.
typical kind
So
of
the typical Pakistani
mentality.
mentality.
Exactly.
Mentality.
So, but they don't realize that police officers are well paid. It's a professional career. You need a degree to do it. So I think, to answer your question, I think that's probably the right answer.
Right, so I've got last two questions that we're going to call it. So if you could go back in time, what advice would you give to your younger self before starting your career journey?
I mean, I think one advice in terms of general, I'll do both. I'll do general career and police. So general career is work experience. That is so crucial for, especially for young people now. It was important then. It's more important now. In terms of the policing career, I think I've done everything right in the policing career because I really thought about. I was quite old. I was about not 30. I was 28, 27 when I joined. So I was quite mature in that sense. So with the policing career, I probably won't change anything because I think I did that right. I went to London. I experienced that. But definitely, as a general advice, is work experience.
Right, so final question. It's pretty much going on to what you just said. So what advice would you give to the youngsters right now that maybe are going to listen to this podcast?
Learn, apply yourself, be aware of what opportunities there are. Don't just be a tunnel vision. Look outside the box as well. Look at what opportunities there are. What benefit would you have, right? And thirdly is learn skills, gain skills, should I say? But whatever you can, if you need to volunteer in the students' union, do it. I promise you, when you get to my age, you'll think, oh, I did that good. This is the time because you've got no responsibilities on you yet. You know, you have no family, you have no houses, you don't have a car, you know,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. So make sure you use your free time productively, because what you guys will have is will have a lot of debt when you leave uni. So you should all graduates should be aiming for 25k job.
100%.
Anything lower than that, you're underachieving.
Yeah. So do you guys have any more questions for Mudasser before we end it?
I was gonna ask you about like women and how like do you think it's harder for us girls to maybe think about the police because we don't really.
I mean, I think it's probably a mental block sometimes, but especially when it comes to physical. You know, the bleep test. I mean, some of the girls that I've met or that failed, they'll think, "Oh, I want to carry on running, but I can't be bothered." But I can't. No, but it can do. They'll say, "I can't do it, but I just give up too early."
Can't be asked.
Yeah,
Can't be
Right.
asked.
So, and I think that's the only problem. Other than that, I think we've got more women joining now than we ever have before. So, in terms of joining the police and being a police officer, no problem. I think with all students, they need to apply themselves, making sure when they do apply for any job, especially the police, you really make an effort to pass the process, not just make it half-hearted. If that makes sense. Yeah.
Right, so big thank you to Mudasser, guys.
Oh, thank you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.